Okie dokie. Well, been running since 6:30 this morning. It is 10 o'clock. I had to take the number one farmhand to school this morning. He's got drama practice. I guess they're getting ready to do a play. I don't know. Just one of them things he hit me with last night. Okay, got that done, went home, got out of the car, got into the truck, hauled the pig into the processor, went back home, gathered up Opal. She's back there in the back seat somewhere, and some cats, and hauled them to the vet, got them checked out, got Opal her shots. Now I'm headed back home, hopefully to find me something to eat, and then I'll get started on the tiny barn, and hopefully I can get it ready for 10 before I have to go drive the school bus this afternoon. So that's what I've been doing today, this morning so far. Yeah. It don't get any crazy. It don't get any less crazy in the world. Oh man. Yesterday, of course, I don't know. I haven't seen anything, so it probably did not materialize. I don't know. But if you know anything or seen anything, let me know. There was supposed to be a truck driver strike yesterday and today. Like I said, I haven't seen anything. Oh, excuse me. So I don't know if that materialized. A few videos ago, let's put it that way, I mentioned that there was only like 25 days worth of diesel fuel left, and then I did a kind of a correction, because I'm not trying to spread panic or anything. I just want people to be at least as aware of what's going on as I am, which isn't terribly aware. But anyway, let's talk about this diesel fuel shortage. Well, it's not exactly a shortage. What it is the U.S. government tracks how many days of diesel fuel that is in reserve. And I guess Bloomberg, I don't know whether it's the magazine or their cable news network or whatever, reported that. But they didn't, as far as I've been able to find out, they didn't report that was the reserves. Or if they did, people weren't listening. And that's what's in reserve. And people are still freaking out over that. And that's kind of average. I think our average is about 30 days, and that's if that great big 2-letter word, if there was no diesel fuel production, it just stopped one day, and there was no refineries producing diesel fuel, that's how many days we would have left. And I don't know if that number has changed, but people are still talking about the diesel fuel shortage. Well, we don't have a shortage yet. So, don't freak out about that. It's just not out there. But anyway, back to this trucker strike. And I think they have some valid points. It's going to be independent owner operators. Excuse me for stumbling around over my words this morning. you know, their costs are going up. We all know that. I mean, just if you don't drive a truck, you probably buy a car, and you know your gasoline's going up. And it's interesting that when I was younger, a few years ago, diesel fuel was cheaper than gasoline. I mean, this was years ago. Because a lot of people were buying diesel cars because it was cheaper, and the diesel cars were more fuel efficient. So, you know, they saved money on fuel. And the diesel engines are still more efficient than a gasoline engine. So, you know, but at some point somebody figured out, I guess, that they should be charging more for diesel because it's used by commercial vehicles. And, you know, everybody seems to think that companies can absorb, you know, these are large corporations that use diesel-powered vehicles can absorb that cost. Well, they don't absorb the cost, it just gets passed on. And that's the deal. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people, they'd be like, I don't care about the cost of diesel fuel. I don't buy diesel fuel. You know, it's these large corporations that use diesel fuel, and, you know, they can afford it. Well, yeah, they can afford it because they're going to pass the cost on to you. But, you know, that's one of them things that people don't understand, that is connected to everything. Diesel fuel is connected to everything, especially food. I mean, farmers use diesel engines in almost every piece of equipment they own, including their pickup trucks. Because, like I said, diesel engines are more fuel efficient than a gasoline engine, and they make tons of low-end torque, which that's what gets you moving, and that's what they need. They need that power to get them moving. You know, hauling big loads, and, you know, moving heavy pieces of equipment, that kind of stuff. But, you know, I don't know a farmer that would buy a gasoline-powered tractor, even a small one, you know, because they do get a little bit of an advantage. They can buy off-road diesel, which is a little cheaper, but they can only run it in their off-road vehicles, tractors, combines, that sort of stuff. You know, nothing that's ever on the road because it's not EPA approved. It's only EPA approved for off-road use. And if you get caught using it in an on-road vehicle, it's a huge fine. But that's one of the truckers' complaints, is the fuel costs. You know, their fuel costs go up and their pay for their loads goes down. Or it stays the same, which is basically going down, because, you know, if your fuel cost goes up, say 10%, and you don't raise your prices 10%, well, then your profit goes down 10%. So that's what the American truckers are mad about. And I don't blame them. You know, the trucking industry is, I mean, I drove truck for about a year over the road. And if that truck's not moving, especially as an owner-operator, you're not making any money. I mean, they don't pay you to sleep. Now, if you drive a company truck and you drive team, you get paid to sleep, but, you know, because one driver drives while the other one sleeps. But that's a rough life. That's what I did. And that's rough. You're never rested. But anyway, you know, but a lot of people love the lifestyle. I mean, you know, they have a sense of freedom that you don't have working in a factory. I mean, You know, they can decide when they want their lunch break and all of that. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Let me see what else. There was something else I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember right now. But anyway, you know, I guess the railroad strike is still a possibility. I haven't heard anything about that. You know, then again, there's another industry that relies on diesel. If you've watched a previous video, I can't remember which one that was, but I talked about it. These train engines, they are driven by an electric motor, but they have a diesel generator to produce the electricity for the electric motor. So they still basically run on diesel. Now, I'm guessing it's more efficient to do it that way. I mean, if it wasn't cost effective, they wouldn't do it, I'm sure. But so, yeah. And like I said, you can get out there and research all of this stuff that I'm talking about. And I encourage you to do so. The only traffic light between where I was and home, and I catch it on a red. Looks like it's red in all four ways. People are just sitting here. Anyway, oh, nope. There goes on. Just ran that red light. Bigger than big. Just, oh well. I guess I'm gonna mention this again. I probably don't need to if you're a regular watcher, one of my subscribers. But you know, times are gonna get tough. I've mentioned it multiple times, and it doesn't matter how this next election turns out. And as far as tough times are coming, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now we can elect the perfect officials that care about making the country strong again and get us another thriving economy, but it's going to take time. You know, there's stuff that's got to be undone, and things just take time. So, you know, but make sure you get out and vote on November the 8th. Unless you are going to vote left, and you vote on the 10th. Yeah, I'm just joking. If y'all don't know that, there's only one election. I don't want to get myself in trouble for spreading false information. Speaking of that, I've said this over and over again. We hold almost all of the world's knowledge in our hands anymore. On our smartphones, we can access it. I can't think of anything that I want to know that I can't find on here, except some of my ancestry information. But anyway, but yet we want more. We want to hand the government more control over what we see and what we hear. Who? Of course, I'm thinking maybe they didn't read it, but who would read like 1984 or Fahrenheit 451 or even Atlas Shrugged? and think, oh, yeah, that's the way we've got to be. That's the way we need to do things. You know, I know everybody's tired of hearing about the New World Order. I mean, I've been hearing about it for 20 some years or more, you know, and I dismissed it early on as conspiracy theory. But I don't think it is. I mean, digital currency. I was just listening to another YouTuber talk about this. It's actually John at Prepper Nation. It's his video he put out this morning. And he was saying, now, like I said, anything I say, go look it up. Don't take my word for it. Don't take John's word for it. Don't take anybody else's. Just go look it up. We know that our government's looking into a digital currency. We know there's other governments that's already got a digital currency. But his theory hasn't been proved out yet, is that there's going to be two world digital currencies. There's going to be the Western world, and then there's going to be everybody else. And that's going to cause problems. Yep, it's going to cause problems. But, you know, this digital currency, especially when the government has control of it, and you can call this a conspiracy theory all you want, but here's my suggestion. Go look into how the government is handling Social Security, how the government handles the Veterans Administration and the health care for our veterans, and tell me you want them having access to your personal income, your personal money. You know, this digital currency will mean that they can see with a punch of a few buttons exactly how much money you have, where it came from, all of that. And, you know, they can take it. And I believe a point will come where they will, you know. We have to pay attention to this stuff. Now, I know a lot of people are, oh, yeah, you know, digital currency, you know. I'm not talking about Bitcoin or is that one Dogecoin or whatever that are not backed by any government. This, you know, I'm talking about these government-backed digital currencies. I know people think it'd be a good idea to get that little chip put in their hand to pay for everything. No, I don't think so. Like I said, we just got to pay attention to this stuff and try to get it nipped in the bud, to paraphrase Barney Fife. Nip it in the bud. It's not good. It's not good. Just, yeah, it's not good. And man, we can go on and on about all this kind of stuff and where this leads and that could lead, and you know. But I'm just go look it up and see what's going on with it. I know our current government leadership, let's say, they think it's a good idea because they have screwed up the American dollar, or the petrodollar, some folks call it, which I don't understand that one really, but I know it's, you know, got to do with the purchasing of oil. But oh, excuse me. We're headed into not only tough times, because like I said, this next election is important. It actually is important no matter which way you believe. But I'm hoping that we move things back to the right a little bit. Uh, as far as my political leanings are, you know, I consider myself kind of a conservative libertarian. You know, I want less government, and, you know, less government means more opportunity. Believe it or not. I mean, you know, having had, you know, a small business in the past, and knowing that just the regulations that I know of that have been changed, it's hard to start a business unless you've already got $1 million or credit that will let you borrow a boatload of money. And it shouldn't be that hard. I listened to my dad talk, you know, and he said, you know, he said, I remember when you kids were little, which puts it, I was born in 1965, my youngest brother 1970. So, you know, from 1965 to say 1975 or so, my dad didn't worry too much about being unemployed. He worked construction. And the reason he didn't worry about it is he had a pickup truck. You know, he'd put him a little ad in the newspaper, or, you know, and somebody called him, they had a little bit of stuff to pick up, he'd charge him a couple bucks. Him and a buddy jump in the truck, or they would even go knock on doors. Hey, I see you got that little pile of stuff there. He said, you know, we'll haul that off for a couple bucks. Yeah, okay, sure. You know, they wouldn't have a pickup truck, wouldn't know where to take it, so, you know, they were glad to get rid of it. And, you know, he said, by the time you get that picked up, neighbor down the street seen you, and, you know, they come down and talk to you and say, hey, I got a little bit of stuff up there, what would you call it? Oh, well, you know, yeah, we'll charge you $1. We'll just throw it on this stuff. And, you know, by the end of the day, they'd made enough money. They'd made a day's wages. You can't do that anymore. You go knocking on doors trying to get work like that, they'll throw you in jail. Some of these cities. And I know out in the country, people are liable to call law on you. Say, hey, you know, and people would be distrustful. I would be distrustful, to be perfectly honest. If I come knocking on my door, hey, I see you got, you know, a pile of limbs out there. You know, I'll haul them off for $20. I'm like, are they scoping me out to come back later, you know, and steal stuff, or what? I mean, let me give you an example of that. And it's sad that we feel this way. I had a person contact me on a pig. It's a cull sow, very large pig, you know, 600 pounds and more. And, well, they live in town. I guess they're going to process it themselves because they wanted to put it down here and then have me help load it. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. You don't know me. You don't know if I have some way to load this pig or not. And you want to shoot it and then try to load it in the back of a pickup truck? And I talked to it, and I finally told him, I said, look, here's the deal. Yes, I will allow you to come up here and you can kill it here, and I'll try to use my little tractor to load it. But I don't know, there's no guarantees that I can. But, you know, you have to pay me before you know, put the pig down. And you cannot eviscerate it here. And I'll try to help you load it. but you have to be here by this time. I never heard any more. But I got to thinking about it. And I think this is probably a lot of people. I don't know if you don't think this way. Let me know down in the comments. But I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, wait a minute. I know that people get weird ideas. And I know that people look at me and what I got going on here, which isn't much, and they get it in their head that I'm wealthy, because I've got livestock and I got a pickup truck, or I've got multiple pickup trucks and, a tractor and, the pig wrangler extraordinaire's car and, got some implements for the tractor. And so they see that as I got money, just it doesn't matter. But, I got money, I'm rich. And I'm nowhere near rich, trust me. Rhonda will tell you that very, very quickly. But they get this stuff in their heads, so I get to think, well, what if this guy's plan was to come up here and shoot me and take whatever money I got on me? Because I grew up around people that thought this way, that, oh, well, they got money, they carry, they'll talk themselves into you carrying $5,000-$10,000 cash on you. Now, like I said, that may just be me being paranoid, but, I don't think so. But I don't know, and I'm sure that I'm wrong in this case, because if that was the plan, it's, oh, yeah, great, yeah, we'll be there, and, all that. But I never heard any more about them, or from them, so. Anyway, I'm going to stop here for a little bit, grab me a bite to eat this morning, and then I got to get the trailer put up and get to work on the tiny barn. So we'll see you in a bit. These two are something else.